So I was just sitting here eating a burrito trying to think of what to do for today's tech tip, and I didn't tune in a Jeep right now, so it's not something that most people want to see a tech tip on, and I don't really have a tech tip that is related to tuning this Jeep, but I do have a tech tip that I have been working on off and on for a week or so. And it has to do with whether or not dynoing cars with the hood open or closed makes a difference. And this is it's kind of controversial, but I'm not trying to be controversial in it. It's just that I like to show data for stuff. So it's not on this Jeep, but here's some videos of some dyno pulls of a car that I did earlier this week and another car, just to show you guys open versus closed. We're all done. What I wanted to show here, specifically in this video, was the difference between a hood open and a hood shut test. Had a recent kind of discussion online with somebody about whether you should dyno a car with the hood open or the hood closed. And the important thing that I have to say is, if you can replicate the same conditions, hood up or hood down, I like to dyno with the hood up just because you see a little bit less engine bay heat. It's a little bit easier on the cars, but you do want to make sure that you don't have anything going on that's going to cause the car to run differently. So this is a stock airbox car. So you can see stock airbox gets its air through this induction snorkel into the airbox, into the intake. Hood open, hood shut, it's not going to make a big difference. The intercooler itself actually is going to cool a little bit better with the hood open on this dyno, shut if you had better airflow. I don't have the biggest fans in the world. I got this pretty good size one here and these radiator fans, but I can't replicate 70 miles an hour of airflow over the car. It'd be really nice if I could. Some dyno cells can, so I usually have it open. Sometimes I spray some water on it, but the intake didn't make a difference. Now here's a comparison of these two pulls. You can actually see with the hood shut in blue and the hood open in red. Car spooled a little bit faster. It's because they were back-to-back pulls. You usually get a couple RPMs faster spool up if you do two pulls consecutively. But peak for peak, we're within less than a horsepower. Same with peak torque. 1 foot-pound of torque more on the first pull. Just kind of came up a little bit quicker right there. But it's not, this is for a car at this power level. These numbers are, for all intents and purposes, identical. You can see out top, power is super. I mean, you're within 0.3 horsepower, hood open and hood shut. So I hope that puts to bed whether or not having the hood open or closed is going to cause problems on the dyno and give you unrealistic results. Now, if you have an open intake that has no protection on it, then you might see a pretty major difference, especially if you have a big fan like this blowing air across the intake. You can see mass airflow meter readings that come out incorrectly and cause some interesting fueling conditions both up and down. But that's not the case when you have a nice closed-in airbox. The Cobb SF airbox, even the AEM intake that comes down into the fender, those are all very good because they don't have any kind of a problem with the hood open or closed. If you do a test on your car with the hood open and you shut the hood and you see a major change in power or a major change in air fuel or a major change in boost, you might want to look into the design of your intake. Now, this isn't an aggressive tune. This is just a pretty conservative tune on this car. Just it's actually for a dealership, so just trying to make it run good for them. But the important thing is hood open, hood shut, make no difference whatsoever. All right, so here was the pole with the hood open, and it looked pretty solid. Everything looks good. 284.95 horse, 309 foot-pounds. This is just a stage 1 car. It just has a Cobb intake and it has an axle back exhaust. So these 2019s are pretty hot as far as how much power they can make. If I really wanted to push it, I could probably get this thing up to 300 horse on stock downpipe. I don't like to push them that hard. The downpipe won't last, the cats in there won't last super long at that kind of power. But the point is, we're going to shut the hood and see what happens. So what we have here is another great example of a factory style intake, although this is the Cobb high flow SF intake. And with the airbox and the snorkel in place, with the hood open or shut, even with my not humongous fans, the car made darn near exactly the same horsepower and torque on the dyno. Like within a margin of error that at the power level that it's at is perfectly acceptable. This even has the funny little screen on it, which does restrict a little bit of airflow to the intercooler, but not a lot. But these 2019s have this just massive top mount. That thing is huge. That's bigger than some of the front mounts you used to see on the old Bug-Eye WRXs with the tiny bumper opening. So, I mean, this thing's huge. But yeah, it's still, this is a stock downpipe. See down there, stock factory downpipe. It's just got axle back exhaust. It's even stock mid pipes. And let's look at what it made for power. So this is the 2 poles overlaid here. Hood shut was in the blue and hood open was in the red. And you can see, again, because they were back to back, the car always spools a little bit harder if you do poles back to back, but it's pretty darn near identical. Clear even up to the very, very top there. It's, I mean, we're, look at that, 271.8 or 93, 272.6. I mean, it's identical. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Hood open, hood closed. As long as things are doing what they're supposed to and you have all the components in your car set up correctly, it shouldn't matter for horsepower output, contrary to what some people on the internet would like to say. And if you don't believe me, I mean, the data is right there. The data doesn't lie. These were back-to-back polls, same day, minutes apart, same car, same tune, didn't change anything at all. So there you go, that's the information. I always like when people have questions or think that things work some way and then they want to know why they work that way. I like to address that and be able to actually show real world data that backs up or defunks someone's theories. So there you go, thanks for watching.